Have you ever wondered why your mind tricks you into believing something that isn't true? Or why you suddenly notice something everywhere once you learn about it? Today, we're diving into 50 fascinating psychology facts that uncover the hidden mechanisms behind how you think, feel, and behave every day. Fact 1. The placebo effect. Imagine taking a sugar pill and feeling better simply because you believe it's medicine. The placebo effect shows the power of belief, where the mind can trigger physical healing without active treatment. Studies reveal that patients given placebos often report reduced pain or improved symptoms, underscoring the brain's role in health outcomes. Fact 2. The nocebo effect. Conversely, negative expectations can harm us. The nocebo effect occurs when believing something will cause harm, like expecting side effects from a harmless pill actually worsens symptoms. Clinical trial research shows patients expecting negative outcomes often experience them, driven purely by mindset. Fact 3. Selective memory. Our brains filter memories to align with our beliefs, a phenomenon called confirmation bias. For instance, if you believe you're unlucky, you're more likely to recall moments of bad luck, reinforcing that belief. Studies suggest this bias shapes political views and personal self-perception. Fact 4. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Ever notice that those with the least expertise often seem the most confident? The Dunning-Kruger effect explains why individuals with low ability overestimate their competence. Research by Kruger and Dunning found that novices lack the metacognitive skills to recognize their limitations. Fact 5. The paradox of choice. More options don't always mean better decisions. Psychologist Barry Schwartz's research shows that excessive choices can lead to stress, indecision, and dissatisfaction. For example, choosing between 50 types of jam can paralyze decision-making, leaving us less happy with our choice. Fact 6. The Hawthorne effect. People change their behavior when they know they're being watched. In the 1920s, studies at the Hawthorne Works factory found workers were more productive under observation, regardless of changes in working conditions. This effect highlights how social scrutiny influences performance. Fact 7. Priming. Subtle cues can shape your actions without you realizing it. For example, seeing words related to kindness can make you act more generously. Research by Barg et al. Shows that priming with specific stimuli unconsciously influences subsequent behavior or judgments. Fact 8. The Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished tasks stick in your mind more than completed ones. Psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik found that waiters recalled orders better before serving them than after. This explains why incomplete projects nag at us, driving us to finish them. Fact 9. The gambler's fallacy. After a string of losses, you might think a win is due. This misconception, known as the gambler's fallacy, assumes past random events influence future ones. Studies show this leads to irrational betting in games like roulette, despite each spin being independent. Fact 10. The halo effect. A single positive trait can color our entire perception of someone. If someone is attractive, we often assume they are also intelligent or kind. Research by Nisbet and Wilson shows this bias affects judgments in hiring, dating, and more. Fact 11. The Pygmalion effect. High expectations can boost performance. When teachers believe students are capable, those students often perform better. As shown in Rosenthal and Jacobson's 1968 study, this self-fulfilling prophecy highlights the power of belief in shaping outcomes. Fact 12. The bystander effect. In a crowd, people are less likely to help in an emergency. The 1964 Kitty Genovese case inspired research showing that the presence of others diffuses responsibility, making individuals less likely to act, assuming someone else will. Fact 13. Hot versus cold cognition. Emotions often override logic in decision. Hot cognition, driven by strong emotions, can lead to impulsive choices, while cold cognition relies on calm reasoning. Studies show emotional states significantly alter risk assessment and judgment. Fact 14. Cognitive dissonance theory. When our actions clash with our beliefs, we feel psychological discomfort. Festinger's 1957 theory explains why people justify contradictory behaviors, like smoking despite knowing its risks, to reduce this mental tension. Fact 15. The anchoring effect. The first piece of information we receive shapes our judgments. For example, seeing a $1,000 watch before a $100 one makes the latter seem cheaper. Tversky and Kahneman's research shows anchors influence decisions in negotiations and pricing. Fact 16. Flashbulb memories. Vivid memories of emotionally charged events, like where you were during a major disaster, are called flashbulb memories. Brown and Kulik found these memories feel exceptionally clear, though they're not always accurate. Fact 17. Stockholm Syndrome. In hostage situations, victims may bond with their captors, named after a 1973 bank robbery in Sweden. This phenomenon shows how fear and dependency can create emotional attachments, as victims empathize with their captors to cope. Fact 18. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. Ever learn a new word and suddenly see it everywhere? This frequency illusion occurs because your brain, now aware of something, notices it more often. It's a mix of selective attention and confirmation bias at work. Fact 19. Negativity bias. Bad news sticks more than good. Evolutionary psychology suggests our brains prioritize negative information for survival, explaining why criticism feels heavier than praise. Studies show negative events have a stronger emotional impact. Fact 20. The Lake-Wobegon effect. Most people believe they're above average in skills like driving or intelligence. This overconfidence, named after Garrison Keillor's fictional town, is documented in studies showing 80% of drivers rate themselves as better than average. Fact 21. Primacy and recency effects. We remember the first and last items in a list best. The primacy effect favors early information due to stronger encoding, while the recency effect benefits recent items still in short-term memory, as shown in memory research. Fact 22. Self-determination theory. Humans are driven by three needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Deci and Ryan's theory explains why we're motivated to pursue goals that align with these needs, like seeking meaningful relationships or mastering skills. Fact 23. The Fora effect. Vague personality descriptions feel uniquely personal. In 1948, Bertram Forer gave students generic horoscope, like providers, and most believed they were tailored. This explains why astrology and personality quizzes are so compelling. Fact 24. Decision fatigue. Making too many decisions wears out your brain. Research by Baumister shows that after repeated choices, willpower depletes, leading to poorer decisions, like impulse buying after a long day of shopping. Fact 25. The framing effect. How information is presented changes our decisions. Tversky and Kahneman found that framing a medical treatment as having a 90% success rate versus a 10% failure rate sways preferences, even though the data is identical. Fact 26. The spotlight effect. We overestimate how much others notice our flaws. Gilovic et al. Found people feel their mistakes, like wearing an embarrassing shirt, are more obvious than they are, due to egocentric thinking. Fact 27. The Yerkes-Dodson law. Stress boosts performance up to a point, then harms it. This 1908 law shows moderate arousal optimizes tasks like studying, but excessive stress impairs focus, creating an inverted U-shaped performance curve. Fact 28. The cocktail party effect. In a noisy room, you can focus on one conversation but still hear your name called. This selective attention studied by Cherry, shows how the brain filters relevant stimuli even in chaotic environments. Fact 29. Hindsight bias. After an event, we think we knew it all along. Research shows people overestimate their ability to predict outcomes, like election results, once they know what happened, skewing their perception of foresight. Fact 30. The Barnum effect, similar to the Furore effect. Vague statements feel personal, named after P.T. Barnum. This explains why fortune tellers' broad predictions resonate, as people fill in the gaps with their own experiences. Fact 31. Attribution theory. We explain behaviors differently based on context. We attribute our successes to personal skill but blame failures on external factors, while judging others' failures as character flaws, as shown in Wiener's research. Fact 32. Dapratfall effect. A slight mistake makes competent people more likable. Aronson et al. Found that someone who spills coffee after a perfect performance is seen as more relatable than someone flawless. Fact 33. The misinformation effect. Memories can be altered by false information. Loftus's research shows that suggestive questions like how fast was the car going when it smashed versus hit can distort eyewitness recall of events. Fact 34. Self-control theory. Willpower is like a muscle it fatigues with use. Baumeister's studies show that exerting self-control, like resisting sweets, reduces your ability to focus later, but regular practice can strengthen it. Fact 35. The Stroop effect. Naming the color of a word is harder if the word itself names a different color, like red written in blue ink. This 1935 study by Stroop shows how automatic processes, like reading, interfere with controlled tasks. Fact 36. Anchoring bias. Initial information sets the tone for judgments. For instance, hearing a high salary first makes subsequent offers seem low. Kahneman's research shows this bias affects everything from purchases to legal judgments. Fact 37. The mere exposure effect. Familiarity breeds liking. Sejong's 1968 study found that repeated exposure to a stimulus, like a song, increases preference for it, even without conscious awareness. Fact 38. Self-comparison theory. We evaluate ourselves by comparing to others. Social comparison theory by Festinger explains why we measure our success against those better or worse than us. Fact 39. The cheerleader effect. People appear more attractive in groups. Research by Walker and Voll shows that group settings average out individual flaws, making each person seem more appealing. Fact 40. Optimism bias. We overestimate positive outcomes, like thinking we're less likely to get sick. Charrette's research shows this bias drives motivation, but can lead to risky behaviors, like ignoring health precautions. Fact 41. The Van Restorff effect. Distinct items stand out in memory. A red word in a list of black words is more memorable, as shown in Van Restorff's 1933 study, due to its uniqueness capturing attention. Fact 42. Social identity theory. We favor groups we identify with. Tashfel and Turner's theory explains why we feel stronger ties to our team, whether based on nationality, sports, or shared interests, fostering group loyalty. Fact 43. Fundamental attribution error. We blame others' actions on their character, not circumstances. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, you assume they're rude, not that they're rushing to an emergency. Fact 44. The sleeper effect. Persuasive messages gain impact over time. A low credibility source, like an ad, may initially be dismissed but later influence attitudes as the source fades from memory, per Havlin's research. Fact 45. Attachment theory. Early bonds with caregivers shape adult relationships. Bowlby's theory shows that secure or insecure attachments in childhood influence trust and connection in romantic and social bonds. Fact 46. The over-justification effect. External rewards can diminish intrinsic motivation. Techie studies show that paying kids to draw something they enjoy reduces their interest in drawing for fun, as the reward shifts their focus. Fact 47. Self-serving bias. We take credit for successes, but blame failures on external factors. For example, acing a test is due to your skill, but failing is the teacher's fault. This protects self-esteem, per Miller and Ross. Fact 48. The endowment effect. We value things more once we own them. Kahneman et al. Found people demand more to sell an item, like a mug, than they pay to buy it, due to a sense of ownership. Fact 49. Diffusion of responsibility. In groups, individuals feel less accountable. During emergencies, like a fire, people in a crowd may assume others will act, reducing their own initiative, as shown in Darlian's research. Fact 50. The false consensus effect. We overestimate how many people share our opinions. Ross et al. Found that people assume their preferences, like favorite foods, are more common than they are, inflating perceived agreement. These 50 facts illuminate the intricate ways our minds shape our perceptions, decisions, and interactions. Which fact surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more insights into the fascinating world of psychology